on civilians. That's called martial law.
Yeah, but they're also not designed to do that to the civilians too. So I think there's a point at which the soldier or whatever has to make a decision, and I mean that's yet to be seen. But I don't know that the United States Army is not Trump's Gestapo, and I think that there's enough. I would hope that there's enough people with integrity and just, that understand how American law works that, they can't be sicked on the people of this country. That's, what I think.
And that's the key word you said, I hope. See, a soldier is just that. A soldier does follow orders. And when you replace generals who stood in Trump's way like he did, and when he fired them, replaced him with his puppets like he did. Those soldiers, all those individuals, there was a reason why there was an influx of people who joined the armed forces once he got into office, like minds. So with that being said, a soldier is just that. They're not a robot. And yes, some of them may question and things of that, but the vast majority, I do not believe they will, because they swore an oath to the country. They swore an oath to the president's office. So I don't think it's going to be I don't think you're going to see the valor in what you speak of.
We got some soldiers in here. You can ask them.
Oh, absolutely. I work with a lot of them too.
Justice, right? It's not going to happen that way. It's not legal. It's not legal, not just here. It's international law against it as well. All right. It's not going to happen.
If that were the case, they wouldn't be. If it's international, they wouldn't be bombing Ukraine, and they wouldn't be bombing Palestinian civilian targets like they do, or taking them out like they do. If it was international,
they can do that under the guise of a military attack on military with civilian casualties. That's a lot different than direct confrontation. But that's not the U.S. military. The U.S. military is just funding that. They're not doing that.
No, the point that I'm trying to make is, he said under the guise, and all it takes is somebody's word. Hey, they're doing this, and I saw it, and I can prove it. And you sick the military on them, which is what they did, but they still bomb civilian targets. All it takes is for Trump to say, hey, this place over here, one of these states, one of those cities, one of those counties, they're forming a coup against the United States or whatever lie he may construct. That's all it takes. Again, it's just somebody's word in leadership. Hey, this is not a hospital. This is a training camp filled with children. Come on now.
Jerry, do you just question, do you think that in Los Angeles that when they deployed the National Guard, they used any form of force or weapons against the community here? Yeah or no?
Well, I wasn't there, so I can't.
I'm here. That's what I'm asking.
You are. I said I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. I can't speak.
They were a presence. Any physical contact came from police, right? They were a presence. They stood there. They held their weapons, which weren't even loaded, right? I don't know if you know that. They're not even allowed to have loaded weapons here. They stood there, and they were a force as far as visually, but that's it. That's all.
Trump, or Hex has said yesterday that they will be armed, and he said with pistols to defend themselves. So you can't really defend yourself for that without some bullets.
That's a fact.
I saw that too. They said moving forward.
Yeah, that's a new thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking forward into arming the National Guard. Now, don't get me wrong. I have nothing but the utmost respect for military. My grandfather, my father, MIA, Korea. I have nothing but respect. I come from a long line of military individuals. But I do know that they are not designed to police. They're designed to kill and eliminate the threat.
Yeah, but I agree with that part. I just don't know, especially from after with 2020 and all the protests that happened, the National Guard was hidden, but they didn't even move. They will approach you and I don't know if it's a law that prohibits them from from doing it, but it's just their own. They just are there. They don't really do nothing to nobody. So I don't know like what all the laws around it, but I know my dad is was in the army, and a lot of people I know, and they've said my dad's no longer in it, but he said if that would have been his orders, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I get it, and there's a lot of people that will have that type of valor. But what I'm saying is, and with all due respect to the ladies in here, you don't put on a condom unless you're going to fuck. There is a reason. This is what you call a dry run. There is a reason why you are deploying slowly but surely, just to see people's reaction. And sooner or later, it is going an order is going to come out that's going to go against what we are used to. That's all I'm saying. But hey, I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times in my life. I could be wrong again, so I don't know.
I hope you're wrong. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying about like the rollout and them trying to see, but when people start saying, again, I'm not I'm not a veteran or whatever, so when Patty get back in here, we can ask her. But I think like they have to be like agree to it. I don't know if they could just be like go shoot civilians and they gotta go do it. I don't know though. Oh yeah, she back, Patty.
Is Patty in the room?
She's here, but I'm not saying nothing. April, what you think?
I would say that any time that you have an armed military in the streets against your citizens, which people who are illegally here, they're not citizens, but they here, and people they have caught up Americans with these supposed ICE people, which I don't. If you're gonna come grab me off the street and I don't know who you are, I'm gonna have a problem. But if you arm the military and put them on the streets, right, guard, whatever, there's a likelihood, let me just put it that way, of something happening that was unintended, right? At any point when you have somebody armed, shit can go wrong and it can go south. So that would be the point that I would be worried about when he would start the martial law business.
So y'all think it's gonna be some Tenement Square type shit?
I don't know, Just honestly, because every city's different. And of course, people on social media in Chicago saying we're not DC. You come here, blah blah. There's a whole lot of people out here in a whole lot of different situations already thinking about what they're going to do. Now, will they do it? I don't know. But all I know is when you add more guns into a situation with more variables and people who aren't particularly stable, and you have racist-ass people in the military, they exist. They're in there. To me, it's just a mix, right? It's a volatile mix that may not turn out right. It may go very badly in some states.
I have no doubt that it's not going to go well. I just think that when I think of like the military turning against the public, that's what I think of as Tenement Square. And I just don't think. Yeah. I don't think that our military would like stand on post and shoot our civilians.
I don't think so.
Hopefully not. But I do think some shit could go down. Absolutely.
You remember when he held that Bible? Just a moment. When he held that Bible upside down, he had asked the generals, people with him, if they could shoot the crowd and shoot it like that.
And they did it with
and they could do it with if they did it even with rubber bullets. Okay, you don't know when somebody goes down what they've been hit with, right? It's like this has the potential to go very, very wrong.
Think about it. One thing we learned from science fiction, the Avengers, when Vision said it, strength begets conflict. Your military is your strength. It's already a challenge. Strength begets conflict. Conflict begets death. It's only a matter of time before something goes wrong. And Miss April just said it. They told them, hey, don't come here with that. We're not DC. That's already an open challenge. So you've got to be careful with these type of things because it doesn't take nothing but one instance in time to set something tragic off.
Jerry and April, I hear what y'all saying, and it's valid, right? Trump is 100% stress testing the system. He's 100% seeing how close to a dictatorship he can come to under his 100% accuracy in saying that. But I also think that the checks and balances, although they're working pretty fucking slow, are going to thwart anything that he's trying to do in that nature. Like, there's literally, the UCMJ says that we being soldiers, I'm not one now, but I used to be, right? We only have to follow lawful orders. It's our duty not to follow a lawful order. Same for the Secretary of Defense, right? So when he starts going and trying to implement things that are completely against the Constitution, they legally are supposed to abide to the Constitution and say this is not a lawful order. We don't have to comply. Even though you have the authority to issue the orders, it has to be lawfully compliant with the Constitution. If it's not, we don't move. And if you're telling them to harm civilians, shoot civilians, so on and so forth, that goes against the Constitution, bro.
So I have a quick comment.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a comment. Okay, so yeah, we know how it's supposed to be, but we have also seen how the people who Trump has appointed are not respectful of how it's supposed to be. And in the situation with the military in the streets, confronting the citizens, all it takes is one person. All it takes is one rogue person who accidentally shoots into the crowd. Like, it doesn't have to be a battalion. It doesn't have to be, I already turned right, thank you. It doesn't have to be, sorry, she's getting on my nerves. It doesn't have to be a whole unit that violates. It only takes one person for this to go very wrong.
My issue is this: court. Trump has an issue. If he goes and breaks the law and continues to break it while the lawyers sort it out in court, but he's doing what he wants to. Now, if there was a situation where he was saying, I want to do this, let's take it to court, stress test it against the law before I do it, that's a different story. This is one of the, how can I say it? This is one of the most overt expressions of, I'm going to wipe my left butt cheek with the Constitution and my right butt cheek with the Bill of Rights, and then you can go complain about it in court. And what we're going to do is we're going to legislate it. We're going to challenge it in court and string it out as long as we possibly can while we do what we want to do to the American citizens. And this is the problem that I find.
I agree. But I'm going to refer to my brother Gemini. He said he was in the military, so I'd show you difference because I don't know. My vision kept me out of the military. But with that being said, yes, you said there are laws that says that we cannot and we do not. But again, he's replacing individuals who are like-minded, generals, admirals, other individuals in leadership that are saying, go for it. And they're not abiding. Like my man said, they're testing the limits before even saying, hey, should we or could we? They just do. And it doesn't take but one moment in time, like I said, to start something out. But I do hope that our military would question before they did something like that. I just don't know.
I see what you're saying, Jerry, and there's no pushback. He's definitely doing a lot of fuck shit and then just seeing how the cookie crumbles afterwards because he knows the system is rigged in his favor, and he's rigging it even further in his very favor with the gerrymandering and everything else, right? I see what the fuck he's doing. Like, everybody sees what the fuck he's doing. I just don't believe that there's enough people in place that will go for it. I think there's still a line of resistance there that's going to keep him checked to a certain level. Like, he's getting his way in a lot of different formats. Like, I see it. But I just don't think he can completely become the dictator that he yearns to be. Like, I just don't think he can. I think he's too fucking stupid.
Would that cause a civil war then? Because there are some people in the military that are going to follow him blindly.
Now that's actually what I'm about a civil, like, all-out war? Well, I don't know, shit. I don't know how that shit. I mean, I wasn't there when that started, so it could have been like, just like this. But I do think you seeing people like even the like mildly racist, I think that some of them are coming to a point where they're like, all right, like it's gonna be, limits are about to be pushed. And even like what you see, the reason why I think that that's more likely is because like the shit with Elon Musk. What I can tell you is when two people with like that are very headstrong, that are powerful, both think they know it all, both got money, they ain't gonna get into it just one time and it's dead. It's not done until they have the blowout, and the blowout hasn't happened yet. So what's happening now is these like minor fallouts, and then we get back to cool, and then we fall out. Yeah, I mean, we know how that goes in our personal lives. That never is gonna come to a head. So that is where I think there's gonna be a major split or something, dynamic is gonna happen versus because even this stuff with that's kind of happened before. They did it in Chicago. They've had stop and frisk. I think that I hope that our the people that will feel it the most, who will be black and brown people, are equipped to handle it and to hold their shit until it blows over. What I don't think is these white people that disagree with each other and want to have their way. I think they're gonna throw fits and it's gonna be bad. I do think that.
The other thing we have to think about as well, let me start over. The other thing I think about is the percentage. We know the percentage of oh my God, she's annoying. Oh, shut up, lady. The other thing I think about is that we know the police have been infiltrated by these white nationalists, right? We also know that there is a statistically significant number of them who are in the military as well. And that's the thing that concerns me, because given the right motivation and even any semblance of protection, there's no telling like how those people will respond in citizen confrontations, especially when those citizens are already designated as dangerous, and those citizens that are designated dangerous are also Black. So that is something that concerns me. And I get it about the UCMJ, I get it. But we have seen instances where soldiers, like the guy who Donald Trump pardoned, the one that was in Leavenworth for killing those civilians, I think it was Iraqi civilians. I think maybe it was in Afghanistan. I can't remember. And he was convicted. And his platoon, or the members of his unit, testified against him that he had violated all the rules, and he got a pardon, right? So I think we are existing in a system right now where people are not being held accountable for their violation of the rules. And when people have that level of security in their violative behavior, it just makes for unsafe conditions. That's all
Well, I also think this is what's keeping people off the streets. I mean, we're in kind of a choke here because the public needs to be out on the streets fighting against this or protesting against this, except that if we were to do that, then we walk right into the trap of them saying, see, we have an emergency, and violence then breaks out. And then it gives him a way to militarize. That's to me, that's the biggest problem.
The one thing I keep hearing said is martial law. Like, martial law is not going to happen. That's out. There's too many legal barriers. But if I were him, playing devil's advocate, I would use the Insurrection Act. that's a lot more applicable and a lot easier to get enforced, and that will allow you to use the military the way you want that, the way he would like to use the military. I think that's a realistic possibility.
Meanwhile, have you all seen how his hand and wrist are all bandaged? Apparently his hands and wrists are.
Whose hands and wrists are bandaged?
They're
Really?
All, bruised and bandaged, and they're saying it's because of this vein issue that he has. I was just reading up about it.
But
insufficient. Sorry, go ahead.
what did they say? Vein thrombosis is what I heard.
Right.
But I'm just trying to figure out, why are they bandaged? You guys are not. There shouldn't be any reason if you have thrombosis in your hands. Are they wrapped with ACE wrap? Because you guys, I'm trying to.
Here's the report.
Where have we seen his hands bandaged? When did that happen? That's what I'm trying to. He's had the makeup on them.
I'm actually looking at it right now, and you can see.
Maybe compression. It's probably compression.
Yeah.
But they don't usually do that, you guys, for thrombosis in your.
Lisa, I don't know that. I just heard that. That's not.
Okay, we're gonna go do a little music.